Welcome, everybody, to the budget workshop for tonight's going to be the library, IT, fire, and police departments, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Make sure you guys are all talking into your mics so Chad don't give us a heck.
Friend, I don't hear you.
You don't hear? I'm here. We're not on. He's waiting. There we are now. Thank you, Chad. Are we going in the order that it's on?
Yes.
So we're starting then with the library.
If I may, through the chair, just when we are going from section to section, it'd be helpful if everyone could name the page number to make it a little easier for me.
Absolutely agree with you, Lee. Thank you.
Page 14.
Thank you.
So we're going to switch gears a little bit from the last time we did this. We're not going to go line by line with the salaries. This is something the chair and I discuss as well. We're crossing a lot of lines when it comes to that. It gets a little inappropriate discussing personnel matters, especially getting into the weeds of the salaries. We can discuss the overall increase that is being asked, and that's fine. If I give you an overall increase and that's not acceptable, please give me some feedback on that, and we could come back to the drawing board.
I'm also going to start, because I like to talk, but anyway, because I wanted to publicly apologize for myself, and I'm hoping that the council will agree, to the staff at the last budget council meeting that may have been inappropriately pointed out and discussed. I don't think I myself would like to have been sitting in a room, a recorded room, and having to hear some of the things they did, although we weren't trying to be personal. That is why Mark and I have discussed going forward where the council will not go line by line anymore. We will discuss it as a department and as a percentage. That way it doesn't seem or appear that we're picking on anybody or favoring or thinking somebody's above somebody else. So my heartfelt apologies to the three people that we discussed on Monday for myself, and I'm hoping that the council can agree.
Here.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
And Lisa, now we will turn to you.
Well, thank you for taking into consideration the library budget tonight. Most of our increases, now do you want, how do you want me to go down this? Do you want me to start at the top and go down?
Lisa, I'm going to start for you. So, because at the top it is the admin salaries for the library. The overall increase on my proposal is 31% for the staff as a whole. There's a couple important things to discuss here. So when we're looking at the staff as a whole, since COVID, we've lost 7 staff members in the library due to pay. It's due to their salary. They are, out of all the departments we have here, they are the most underpaid. It's no secret that the library is always forgotten about when it comes to budgets, and this is most municipalities. Libraries mean a lot to me. They mean a lot to Lisa, and I know they mean a lot to most people here. It's important that, and Lisa can go into more detail. Fran, I know you have some things on that have been written down regarding what the library brings to the table for the town of Winslow, whether it's outreach programming for children and adults. We could go really far into it, but at the end of the day, we have to understand that we've lost a lot of staff because they're inadequately paid. So including with the salaries, we're looking to turn one of the part-time positions into a full-time position, eliminating 2 part-time positions, which eliminating 2 part-time positions is going to save approximately $28,000. And then also we have still 1 vacant part-time position here.
So just to give you an idea of, we've gone through 7 staff members since COVID ended. Actually, we lost 2 just in the middle of COVID. But part of the problem is because of the salaries we offer, we're not getting qualified candidates. So a lot of the times, I will hire somebody and then start training them, and that takes 6 to 8 months if they have no library background, and then they get another job and leave. So it isn't just a matter of constantly having to advertise and losing staffing. It's the amount of time that we're spending on people who then are taking those skills that I've developed with them and going to another job. I mean, I can't blame people if they're getting a better paid job and a full-time job with benefits and they're working for what we can pay them, and it's only a part-time job. But even when the jobs were full-time with benefits, we had a hard time keeping people in the positions because we're not competitive.
Through the chair, I'd like to ask you something, Lisa.
Yeah.
Now, tell us and tell the public is that what you're training these people for, why it takes so long to do so.
Well, it varies with each individual because we get people coming in from a lot of different things. But if you're coming in and you don't have any library experience, just the basics of how a library works, how our circulation program works, how we work with the state, a lot of how our scheduling works, our pay system. Some of them come in without very much organizational skills. So because a library works slightly different than, say, a retail business or something like that. So it can take a long time, and there's a lot of small moving parts. And if you're doing the programming and you haven't done library programming before, a lot of the times Lauren, who is our assistant librarian, and myself are having to teach them from scratch how to do children's programming or adult programming or teen programming.
Now, does that have something to do with the computers? You have to show these kids, these people here to show the
Most
kids?
of the people I have hired have at least a basic computer skill. I wouldn't hire someone who didn't know the basics. But we do a lot of times have to provide training for these people on very specific things, like how the library-specific softwares work. And of course, if they don't have a background in training, we have to kind of train the trainer so that when they're working with someone who maybe never touched it like a computer in their life, and all of a sudden, because the state and a lot of places are funneling you into the online world, we have to know how to get them from point A to point B. A lot of people come in and they don't even have an email address. And to interact with the state through their online portal, you have to have an email address. So before we can do anything, we've got to sit them down, show them how the computer basically works, help them sign up for email, explain to them how email works, and then get them to the point where they can do whatever they came into.
So that's the reason why you spend so much time with them.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
I
you.
mean, and people bring us things, devices that, their grandson bought them a laptop and they've never touched one, or a smartphone, or a lot of other things. Had somebody bring in, piece of household equipment one time and didn't know how to use it. We read the instructions and worked with them to try and figure out the instructions. We do a lot of that.
Okay, thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Through the chair?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, are there any automation options or any way that we can get rid of any manual process that you have in the library right now?
We're about as automated as you can be at our level.
Okay.
A lot of the more, our circulation program is automated. Our interlibrary loan system is partially automated. But there are certain things we have to do by hand.
Okay.
And of course, interacting with the patrons, checking them in, checking them out. There is such a thing as an automated system to check out your own materials, but that's incredibly expensive.
Okay.
Just the module to add into the circulation program is thousands of dollars a year. And the device that you need to do that is very expensive. So,
Have you ever gotten a quote on what it would cost to do that?
I got a quote many years ago at a public library, not a public library, an academic library they worked down, and it was going to cost us like $50,000.
It's also worth noting, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa, that the libraries had to close down now on Fridays because of insufficient staffing.
Yeah, we basically lost a full-time person and 2 part-time people who left. And of course, we are going to work on filling those positions, but when we're fully open, we are providing 43 hours of library service. Most libraries are not open that much, and they have much bigger staffs and much bigger salaries than we do. It's just we're very creative, and we want to make sure that we can provide as much service as we can to the people of Winslow.
So what's the hours and the days that we're open right now?
Monday through Thursday, we're open 9 to 6, and the staff comes in a little earlier to get everything ready. And normally, we're open on Fridays 9 to 4, because what we've found is on Friday afternoons, nobody comes in, because, it's the end of the week, the kids are, ready to do something, the parents are ready to do something. So we see the vast majority of our patrons Monday through Thursday. When we were open on other days, I tracked usage, and Friday and Saturday were the 2 lowest usage days of the week.
Okay.
We were lucky, we saw 10 or 15 people on a Saturday, and most of those were people who had been here earlier in the week. A lot of that was computer use. So, or they were just coming in because they, So the town wasn't getting the bang for the buck with the level of staffing we have to do.
Okay.
I've analyzed earlier hours, later hours. I've analyzed just as much as I can. I keep track as much as I can of our usage numbers so that we can provide the town with as much as we can for a reasonable amount of time.
Well, thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
I think when I look at the library, I've never really looked at the library. I thought that's where you go to get a book and you take out a book. But then when I started coming here more and speaking with Lisa and some of the other employees, what I saw was there's an awful lot of community in this library. They have play groups, they have senior groups, sewing, knitting, card playing, story hour for children from birth to kindergarten, then kindergarten to 12th, and then adults for this. They have book clubs, they have art, they have people that come in and guest speakers. They have tours of the library. The internet service is really great for a lot of the people in the community. They will teach them how to have an email. They can come here to get their emails. They can be taught basic computer skills. This library is much more than what people know. And I thank you all, because that's a lot of community involvement. And for such a small library, and to do what you have with the funds you've had available, I commend you on that.
Thank you.
And I personally, to be fiscally responsible and sticking only to the percentages of the request, I would have, to be fiscally responsible, I can't see the 31%, but I can certainly see a 17% if everybody feels they would agree to that. And what do you think, Mark? Do you think 17 is something that you can work with?
I think that's very fair for them, and I think it's well-deserved and beyond deserved and earned. I mean, you've already explained what you guys do here. I could speak from personal experience. My wife brings my son to the library once a week in Pittsfield, so we use it every week. So I have an extreme just appreciation for what libraries do for town. So it is important for me to reward them and also make sure that we're actually sustaining the staffing that we have. And really, that's the goal here. It's not trying to put strain on taxpayers, but we need to make sure that
We need to have retention. That's
have to
very, very
retain.
important. Absolutely. So I'm good with 17%. If anybody else have different numbers,
Through the chair, I have a question. With that increase, would it allow the library to open on Fridays
Once we're fully staffed.
once you're fully staffed?
Yes.
And I'm just curious, so since you've done so much analysis with this increase, have you noticed an increase or decrease like during the summer versus winter months?
Yes. Our busiest times is usually about mid to the end of June through September. And then we start to see a drop off as we hit the holidays. A slight bump in the beginning in the spring, and then it scales back up again. Obviously with the holidays and then the cold, wet, miserable weather, people hesitate to come out, especially in the dark, and with snowstorms interrupting our services and things of that nature, we do see a drop. But that's always been the case, especially in Maine, because, our weather can be challenging. But we do have our regulars that come in no
So-
matter what.
Would that 17% bring them fully staffed?
It's the 17%, I'm assuming, is not it's not adding new staff so much as I have to
Filling those vacancies.
filling the vacancies,
Okay.
yeah. So we're not adding any more staff, I just am trying to fill the vacancies we
And-
have.
and retain staff as
It's
well.
assisting in retention, it's assisting in getting the
Yeah.
staff to where they are, because again, you have the average and then you have where they're at, and they're very,
Yeah.
very far below the average, so you're
I mean,
assisting
when
them
I've
getting there.
interviewed people who were interested in the job, who had the qualifications, and then they found out how much the salary was, their comeback offer was more than I get paid. And at that point, it was like, well, I can't do that. And so we would lose people.
Are you
Thank
happy
you.
with the 17?
I'm happy with anything that helps,
Okay,
you know?
thank you. So to answer your question, yes, I'm good with the 17%.
If I may, through the chair, as long as retention 17, you might want to consider, even though we don't have to decide right now, a 2-year program. So like we might do with the administration, saying that reevaluate this after what we agree with today, knowing next year that if we still have a hard time retention people, then that is. The only thing I want to say, we've talked
Of course.
a lot
Yeah.
over the last many years. And I want to say, first of all, that I've always been a little like with adult programming, and we've talked about this, at 6 o'clock, it's hard for adults sometimes to get. So if I was like, either had a book club for people that work till 4:30, 3:30, 4:30, that closing early at 6 is problematic for a presentation, for some type of things. Some type of program be put in place so that if a presentation starts at 6, that we can close up, or something that would be beneficial.
When we've been open later and had programs later, we get very low participation because those adults have things they have to do.
Yeah.
And so you figure, I've talked to a lot of people, and they get home, they get out of work, they pick up the kid, they have to take the kid to whatever, sports, whatever, get them all home, get them fed, and then they don't want to come out.
Yeah, I understand that.
So, yeah.
And in finishing, I just want to thank you.
Yeah.
Charlie and Mallory, my 5-year-old, and my 8-year-old
Yeah.
grandchildren, I think it's safe to say that we've grown up
Yes.
at this library.
Now, I
And,
will say that we have, for special programs, arranged things so that we can have the programs when the rest of the library is closed before, and we will continue
Yeah,
to do that.
yes.
We're doing a children's STEM program in April that is, because of the way things fell, is going to be on a Friday. So the library itself won't be open, but the building will be open, and my staff will be here to help with the program.
Yeah.
It's one of those touch tanks with the little creatures from the ocean,
Yeah.
sea cucumbers, starfish, that sort of thing. We couldn't say no.
Yeah.
And so we'll be open for a few hours so that we can bring
Right.
in the kids and do that. And that we'll do with adult programs as well.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah.
And again, thank you, because when my grandchildren come in with myself, they're known by their first name, they're greeted, they feel very at home here
Yeah.
at the library,
Well-
and that's a reflection of the staff that's here.
In real terms, that's our primary mission. The books are great, the computers are great, the tech help is great, but we are a social connection to people who don't always have social connections. Or even if they do, to be able to come and see, you've all met Amy, right? I mean, she's like the welcome committee of Winslow. And she knows everybody's name, and she knows everybody's family history, and she knows all the kids, and, the world is a cold, cruel place sometimes, and to be able to come someplace safe and warm, air-conditioned in the summer, and to just talk to somebody who actually cares is kind of important, especially the way the world is going. So that, to us, is our primary mission, is to be a place where Winslow residents have a safe landing space, so.
Thank
I may,
you.
through the
Thank
chair.
Yes, Lee.
Just a quick question. Regarding the two employees that were taken out of the budget. That leaves you one part-time you're still looking for, correct?
Yes, that would be our
Okay.
children's programmer.
All right. That particular position, even if you add in those other two that were taken out, how long have you been looking to fill that position?
On and off for about 4 or 5 years. Because we hire somebody, I train them, they stay for a while, but if we keep them for a year, we're lucky.
Yeah. Is there,
The library is a very demanding job. Most people think it's just, checking books in and out, but there's a lot of organizational skills, money management, people skills, and it's a hard job to do.
so I guess the other question is, as far as the staff doing all the training, is there any way possible to, have them sign something that they need to stick around for a year or something like that, or is that
don't know
against
if
the labor
that's
laws?
Legal, because we're not actually sending
There-
them out anywhere. We're doing all the training ourselves.
Well, now we're getting into like conditional contracts, which I don't think would be
I
appropriate.
mean,
for a
do you really want
library.
to go that far for somebody who works 20 hours a week?
And is
No, but I was just thinking,
I mean,
Minimum
not that
wage.
that's an unimportant job, but I'm just saying that's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
And I get where you're coming from, because there are some times when I feel like it would, because the reality is apart from the training and everything, the rest of us pick up the slack. I mean, Lauren has run almost every summer reading program we've had, except for 1 year since I've been here, because we keep losing children's librarians.
okay.
So, and she's the assistant library director and our cataloger. I pick up the slack in some areas. Amy picks up the slack. Matthew picks up the slack when he can. But it's just, so it's not just simply a matter of losing that person. It's everything else the rest of us have to do while we're looking for that person. Because that stuff still has to happen. We're still doing children's programming, even though we don't have a children's programmer.
Now, do you feel like, do you feel like if say next year we're still looking for that same position, and if we were to maybe next year, I know hypothetically, maybe try to bump that position's pay, do you think that would make a huge difference in trying to recruit somebody?
It would, but here's the thing. Am I going to pay someone without any qualifications more than I'm going to pay for someone who has a master's in library science? Because
No.
it's what you might have to do.
Wow.
that's how underpaid they
That's
are.
how underpaid my people are. Because like I said, the time when I've done interviews with people who actually have the qualifications, a lot of times they want more money than I make. And
Yeah.
that's just,
This is the most I've ever heard Lisa ask for anything for the library.
I'm very parsimonious about money. I grew up with, parents who had to work for every dime they got. Like most of the people of Winslow. So if I can save money by doing it myself or figuring out a way to do it for free or cheap, I will.
For those that
And you
don't
have.
know, she
And I
also
have.
Thank you
she
very
will
much.
also do the plumbing in this building, and that's not
I
even a
have.
joke. She keeps this building alive.
Everybody laughs when I walk in and I'm carrying my little electric drill. But
Do you think that it's possible because it's a part-time position? I mean, there's no benefits with part-time positions, I
Yes.
would assume, right? That could be a factor as well, because people could
I've
come and
had
go a
it-
lot more easily out of a job that they don't have a
the
stake in, like
children's
benefits and things like
position
that.
has been full-time, it's been part-time. And I've still run into the same issue.
Okay.
It's the money, right?
It's the money. Because at one point, we had a full-time children's librarian with full benefits, and I couldn't find anybody to take the job. So then we made it part-time, thinking, that we could find people who maybe didn't have the background, but we could train, and, who were looking for maybe just a semi-retired job, or their kids just went back to school, and, so they could, but this is a very demanding job hours-wise as well, because when the kids are on vacation, that's when we have to be providing the programming. So it's not like you can just your kids are home from school, so you can just take that week off.
Okay.
Our highest programming time is in the summer. Well, if the kids are home for summer, you can't not work, because we need the children's programming for all the children home from school. So that's another issue that, it's a little easier when it's a full-time job, but again, I had a hard time filling that position. And so did my predecessor, unfortunately. She went through a lot of children's librarians before she found the young woman that was here when I got here, but she left because she got a better job with more money. So, it is what it is. And unfortunately, the pool of applicants is getting smaller every year, you know?
So can we say 17%? We can agree on that part of it at least?
Yes.
Yes.
We have a consensus, looks like it's a majority.
Well, thank you. Does anyone have any questions about the rest of our operating budget?
I think we know how tight you are, we're pretty good with it.
I did have one thing though.
Yes,
like,
of course.
I mean, when Fran was reading her list of everything that y'all do, I mean, I'm a resident. I didn't know any of that, and so I'm curious how many people also don't know.
We're working on trying to get the word out. We do Instagram, we do Facebook, we obviously have a website. One of the things our Matthew, which is our new adult programming person, done is he's working on getting the word out to other areas.
Okay.
You know,
Because even if we had to spend just a little bit to get the word out there, because especially if we're going to make a larger investment in the library,
Yeah.
because all of the things that you do, like I said, I had no idea. That's amazing.
we also do work with some certain community groups to get the word out as well. It's just, you know.
Something like the town line, maybe? something.
Yeah,
Or even the town webpage
Yeah,
itself.
yeah, we've also got, we put things in the Morning Sentinel as well. They have like an events section, and we can email them, and we've put, programs in there as well.
Something I wanted to make a note of, you'll notice the IT line at the bottom, the networking. That's going to be something for the next fiscal year. We're going to put an actual IT budget together. We have that next, but you'll see that there's only a few lines on that. So we're going to start consolidating. It's been broken up. It's been done like this for years. So the IT contract has gone up this year. That's a normal increase, but it's divided up between different departments. So that at the bottom of the sheet, you see that there's a 10% increase.
Very good. Are we all good?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you,
Thank you,
and
Lisa.
obviously, if you ever have any questions, you know where to find me.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you for all
Thank you,
your work.
Lisa.
Next, page 15 is the IT. For those that haven't met him, this is Joel.
Hi, Joe.
He's the IT
Hey, Joel.
director. So, and for those that don't know, he works for both Waterville and Winslow. It's a lot of responsibility.
I can give a kind of a brief overview of how that department set
That
up.
would be
Some of you
helpful.
may not be familiar with that.
Please.
So as Mark mentioned, my name's Joel. I work full-time for the city of Waterville. And as a part of that arrangement, the city contracts out with several neighboring municipalities to include Winslow. It's a relationship that started long before I think any of us were around, 2003. And that was born out of a Homeland Security thing. It brought the town of Oakland on as well. So those three municipalities are very closely interconnected. Over the years, we've picked up a couple of other municipalities that we support. So while I work full-time for the city, I function as like a managed service provider for the town of Winslow as well as some of the other towns. Working with Mark, we've kind of going over some of the budget stuff, and it made a lot of sense to kind of make an IT budget as a department like any other department. So the current IT budget as it sits now is pretty small, but it's because it's kind of reflected in 10 other departments. So at FY28, we're looking to actually make it look a little cleaner, a little more normal. So I'll talk a little bit about what's here, although most of this is kind of outside of me. But as they mentioned, the maintenance contract, so that's the monthly fee that the town pays the city of Waterville for us to provide IT services. As Mark indicated, that was a 10% increase over last year. So on that first line, you've got a proposal of 21,000. Realistically, that's only for a small portion of the town's IT services. That number total for the town is actually closer to 49,000 for the year. And that's, like you said, it's, part of it's reflected in the library's networking line. The police department would have a similar line, the fire department, public works, all that. Next year, we would show that as one line in the IT budget.
Joel, can you also go, or at least just cover quickly how much Winslow is actually saving with this IT contract through Waterville, and what would happen if we didn't have this?
I can certainly try. I've actually tried to find a solid number to compare it to, and I'm actually having a difficult time to do that, partly because we're not a for-profit company. But if I had to wager a guess, if you guys were to go out and seek a similar service, you know, put out an RFP or a proper bid request and say, hey, you know, we're a municipality of 55 or 60 employees with, you know, this number of devices, and this is the level of support we're looking at, I wouldn't be surprised if that number was six figures.
Really?
And what's the total contract right now for us?
40, I'm gonna say 49,000 would be for FY '27. So for that $49,000, you get basically a full-time IT department with a director, 2 technicians, access to some high-level consulting, which is a tool in my back pocket. One of some of the other advantages you get with that would be, all we do is municipal IT work. So we support police departments and fire departments all across the county. That's what we do. Libraries, that's kind of our niche, I guess you would say. So we're already certified to take care of a lot of that stuff. I'm not really sure how else to sell it other than you're getting enterprise grade IT support for wholesale pricing, basically.
Well, through the chair, what did we pay last year for this?
For the service, for the IT, is it 40 and change?
I believe it was 43, I think.
43K, yeah, in that wheelhouse.
From we had another agency that did it before, right? Do you know what the total was on that?
I don't prior, no.
It's
Were you
been
aware of
Waterville
that?
since
I was gonna say,
2003.
that's been a
Oh,
long
it's
time,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
If I may, through the chair, just a quick question for Joel. Does IT have a website per se that administrators or, you know, department heads or anything like that, or even the councils for that matter, where we could go and I got a new phone over the summer, and I was having a heck of a time trying to do that 2-part authorization thing. And is there a website or some kind of written instructions on where someone like a counselor could go look or in order to be able to set this up without having to get a hold of somebody live?
If you're discussing something that has to do with like town applications, like using your phone for town purposes, like email,
Yeah.
that's something, if you were to contact me, I would get a hold of Joel, he would put a ticket in, and then he'd be able to link up with you at the office and be able to assist with that.
All right. Well, I mean, instead of bothering him, I just didn't know if there was a site or
Well,
someplace.
there was directions. You placed directions out in the beginning. when we turned to
Yeah,
it.
they're probably outdated by now, so that's one of those things we're working on, is kind of updating that stuff, so
Okay.
certainly if there's a problem you guys run into and you, hey, can we write up some instructions for this that's easily available? Yeah, we can throw something together for sure, and then
Okay.
we have, and usually I have a packet I hand out with new hires. I don't recall if we gave them to the counselors or not, but it's an IT overview, how to get a hold of us. Typically, I tell people, like, you know, if you're not a full-time staff member, like, reach out to your staff liaison or your staff contact. So if it's Audra or Mark, anybody, they know how to get a hold of us, for
Okay.
sure. But we can certainly get you guys contact info for IT if it's not emergent.
You helped me out when I couldn't get in on that two-step process or whatever.
Yeah.
And Mark got a hold of you and you walked me through it. So.
Right, yeah, I mean, I live in town, my team lives in town and nearby. Happy to meet you guys here.
Okay.
You know, at the town office, or even if it's not time sensitive, hey, we got a council meeting coming up on Monday, can you catch up with me before that to go over this real quick? Yeah, we do that all the time, that's not a
Okay.
problem.
Thank you.
That packet, though, might be helpful.
Yeah, I can definitely get you guys a copy of that.
That'd be awesome, thank you.
Just because I'm still learning, Joel, what kind of things would drive like a 10% increase? Is that a typical year-over-year increase, or?
The last several years have been 5%.
That's what I was looking at, yeah.
Honestly, it's because you guys are just not paying very much compared to what the market rate is. It's kind of getting it back to where it should be. You know, if you wanted to hire a full-time IT staff person,
Yeah.
you're probably looking at $90,000 or $100,000 fully loaded.
I was just curious if there was a specific thing that might have.
It's really
drive
just
that.
kind of bringing that number up to what should be a good deal, or a
Market
realistic
value.
number.
Yeah.
Any other questions on, like, the IT services agreement?
I see a decrease. You're no longer paying for, rightly?
That's one that's outside of my scope, but I do believe that note is exactly what it says.
That was the
it's a thing you're
asset
not paying for anymore.
management software that previous town manager had purchased that we do
Okay.
not use.
Yep.
There's a Munis contract in there, that's kind of outside of me, but that's a 5% increase year over year, that's per Munis, that's what they charge. That's the town's financial I mean, that's everything, that's your accounting, every transaction that happens, you know, at the front counter, your utility billing, all of that is managed through that platform. Without
With the
that, I would argue that town business essentially
joint-
comes to a halt.
Will Joel be working with our project manager on updating the website?
We're talking about percentages for the budget right now.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to get a clear understanding.
I would say that the website does not fall under the scope of our IT department.
Or
Thank
the
you.
project manager.
Okay, we'll have to
So that's
discuss
a
that
further
offline
discussion.
then.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a training line on there, that's not related to anything that I'm involved in, so I won't speak to that, but it looks like there's
We didn't
nothing in that
propose
one,
anything
so.
for training.
Application software, I would defer to Mark on exactly what. that would-
Microsoft 365 and the works.
Yep.
Looks like it's everything we need
Yeah,
at a pretty good deal.
actually,
Thank you, Joel.
Thank you.
Thank
Are you guys all set?
Yes,
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joel.
Yeah, because
Thank you, Joel.
they got rid of that one program.
Page 16, Fire Department. Chief Murphy, you're on trial.
Feels that way. Can't handle the truth. Sorry. Always brings that up when somebody says that. Oh. Good evening.
Good evening.
How is everybody?
Pretty good?
Good.
You were the one we'd go to if we weren't feeling well.
Sure. Just kidding.
Did you want to start, Mark?
Yeah, so looking at this salary, again, that's a borderline normal increase. So just barely above the COLA, which is 3%, so 4.2%. But what we're really going to jump into is the 3 proposed positions. And Chief, I'm going to defer to you so you could go in depth on this one.
Sure. So 3 years ago when I took over, our budget was really backwards. And we had to do something right off. And one of the first things we came up with is we cut our third person or fourth, we had 5 on. At the time, we didn't need it. So it was one of those things where it can go. And
But you didn't get rid of the positions, you just didn't budget for them.
we
Correct.
didn't budget, but also the money wasn't there either. They just kind of grayed that out. They left the positions there, but they were unfunded. Until such a time that people felt that it was needed. And actually, this actually came about not too long ago with our former town manager. Steve had mentioned that he wanted to get all the grayed out positions filled again. It was actually mentioned at one of the council meetings. And that's when I started crunching numbers, working, getting it back to where it needs to be. And I apologize if I do the whole bottom, but these are just readers, so exactly.
Hello, I feel for you.
I think Katie and Fran are the only ones that knew me with glasses, so. So looking at it, we were at 4 and they were running at 5. Our calls have increased. It's actually safer to run 4 firefighters. Not all of my paramedics are firefighters. So it's time to go back to the way we were, and I believe we can sustain that with using our revenue, putting it back into the way it was planned to be in the first place. Wasn't, even with this, each year, money goes back into the town above and beyond what my full budget is. So we're still making money, and I believe we'll still make, we're not gonna make $100,000, but we'll still have enough to cover everything in my budget, the added positions with my revenue.
As an example, you did make, I believe, 1 month in November, you cleared like $51,000.
41.
41 for that 1 month. That's cleared profit. And I hear what you're saying too. That looks like an awful large amount of money. Those positions were always
Right, so
there.
if you look at it, I mean, yes, everybody gets the shock of, holy, it's $2 million. Well, you take the 4 that we're projected to make, you take the 4 out of that, it's only 16, 1.6, right? Which it's pretty close to what it's gonna be this year. So, or, correct? Yeah, for F25, it's 16, so it should be right around that same number with the proposed. The other thing too is there's some towns that are, and we'll talk about this in a greater detail, that are shopping around for ambulance coverage. And so that'll be a discussion at a later date, but it's a really good deal for our end.
It's called mutual aid.
Correct. Correct.
And on the topic of mutual aid, we have to put Winslow first still.
Correct.
Mutual aid is important. Having these community relationships with our neighbors is super important. It's important to all of us. But there should never be a time where we're assisting a town and we don't have somebody here.
Correct.
We're just passing the buck to another town, and a lot of our neighbors don't have the capacity to assist if there's an issue.
Right.
It's unsatisfactory to ever be in a situation and have a Winslow resident reaching out for help and not getting that help in a timely manner because we don't have an ambulance on hand.
Correct.
And this is more, Mike, you're asking for these positions out of need, not want.
It's
a
not a
need.
want.
It's a need.
Right. In my eyes, it is not a want. It is a need. And we have we make the income to sustain that without having a $2 million budget. We're actually only having a 1.6.
And Chief, if I may add to that, sustaining is
Yeah.
the important word out of this. Something we've discussed ad nauseum is this is the limit of what we're going to be able to do for this town. It covers us, which is great. It offers the emergency services that residents need. Beyond this, the town doesn't need anything more. And I firmly believe fiscally it would be irresponsible to continue to add into this. So this is where Chief and I are aligned, and I hope you are all aligned too, that this is out of necessity, but we're not going to continue asking for more. We don't need a
Right.
fire department to look like we're in Portland.
So
we need
the-
to just be able to suffice for what we have here.
Correct. The only time that would be an ask for more personnel is if for whatever reason we took on other towns. But that money would come
Correct.
per
the revenue.
capita, right, through
Yes.
the
The
revenue,
revenue.
what the town would be paying us.
And that's the difference between the fire department asking for added positions at the cost of the taxpayers in a
Right.
way.
Right.
In comparison to other departments, because this fire department brings in revenue.
Correct.
So after a certain period of time, if your medical calls and that revenue increases, it's going to start to balance out and pay for the
Correct.
positions.
So, and that's just it. I mean, if, obviously, like I'm asking for, having 5 per shift, at a 1.6 with the revenue, that's still less than some towns that are only running 3 and not collecting revenue, and they're at 1.8 with nothing coming in.
Because you're using this staff.
Correct.
as is the medical emergency personnel as well.
Correct,
So you're not
correct.
hiring two separate things.
That's right. We are not hiring or paying per capita some other system to come in and cover our own. It's going to help on overtime. I've talked in great detail about that with our staff. So right now, it's a minimum of 3 full-time staffing. That'll stay that way. So with a per diem, it'll stay at 4. So if, with the 4, correct, like if I get the fourth person back, if somebody called out, we wouldn't be calling in to cover. It would stay the 3 minimum. We couldn't sustain trying to cover that many people that took a vacation day. So it would remain the same.
Question about the overtime.
Yes.
So if we're bringing back these positions, it looks like the overtime is budgeted the same as it was in the previous fiscal year. Are we expecting to use the same amount of overtime even though we're
Well,
adding positions?
you still have vacation times that people are owed.
But weren't they owed vacation and taking vacation already?
They were, but if you look at, so 3 additional full-time union members, it would be a decrease in $13K in overtime coverage for station callbacks and back-to-back EMS calls. $40K in OT coverage for sick, vacation, and personal day leaves. And it would, the minimum of 3 is what we're going at.
We still need to outfit these positions too. So
Right.
the hopes is it happens in a timely manner as well, but we can't just sit there and guarantee that it's going to immediately happen July 1, that we have all
Sure.
slots filled.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. The
So I
math
think
just
once
didn't
we
really make
assess
sense.
this
Yeah.
year and how this plays out, that's when you're going to see, especially for FY28, that dropping significantly.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chair, if I might.
Yeah.
Is there 2 paramedics out there to hire? I heard that paramedics are extremely rare commodity at this point.
That is true for other departments. I have one that is ready to leave their larger department and come here. And there may be more.
So you don't foresee a problem with hiring?
Absolutely
paramedics
not.
At the level of paramedics, so your hires will be paramedics?
They won't be all paramedics. I mean, I never shot for that. It was for a paramedic and 2 AEMTs.
So this proposal is for 2 advanced and 1 paramedic?
Unless I get all 3 paramedics.
Are they firefighters too?
Yes.
Yeah, so they're combined.
Yeah.
Could you go over your paramedic situation in the department right now, and
It's
what's the
covered,
percentage of each call that goes out that has a paramedic?
it's usually 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Our weekend guy has kind of stepped away for a little bit. He's doing something else, but I have 3 more people that I'm going to be talking to bringing them in, and that's all they want to do is work weekends. So our guy that we had, so we'll be back to 7 days a week. And what we're doing now is we're covering everything. Not every call, and as you know, needs a paramedic.
Right.
So,
And that's your per diem
correct.
paramedics, which saves for benefits and everything. So
Correct.
the per diem and working in that field, we know,
Yeah.
you make your money
Yeah.
working per diem somewhere. You work
Correct.
your 312 somewhere full-time, and then you
Right.
go work 4 days
And that's what I
somewhere else.
have now.
Yeah.
But I have paramedics that want to come and work in Winslow because they like the atmosphere. Quite frankly, they like the department, and they want to leave where they're at to come here.
And through the chair again, could you just very briefly go over the interfacility transfer that we're doing and
So-
what we look at?
So the interfacility transfers, I'm going to touch on it, but I'm not going to dive deep in it because it's just going to snowball into political storm that I don't want to deal with, to be honest with you. Is the people that are being contracted to do that work are doing their job. So they have dropped. So we do get called, and we do take the ones that we can accept. There is a lot that request to go out of state. We do not do out-of-state transfers. That was part of the agreement through the town. And I will not go to like northern Maine, like far northern Maine. I try to stay to Augusta, Lewiston, Portland, and Bangor.
I apologize
Yeah.
for I just been out of the
Yeah,
for a
that's-
year
no,
or two
that's- no,
here,
no,
and
that's fine.
You'd have missed a lot when you miss a year.
Absolutely.
My fault, but
No, so we do take the ones that we can take, correct?
so the when we're getting money from these inter-transfers, that's part of what we're doing to get money back to the department and stuff.
Just
Yeah, that's
everything.
where the bread and
yeah, it's-
butter is, transfer is a bread and butter, that's good
Yeah.
money.
Transfer is a bread and butter, but we get 55, and I know this sounds like a low number, but we get back about 1,000 when we do get paid, which is 55%, by the way. It's not a huge number that we get back, and I'm not going to get into that political climate either on why, but we make enough to sustain to cover what we do with the 5 people per shift. We would still be able to cover that offset, so my budget wouldn't be sky high. Because if we went back to the model before we started and the amount per capita that they're charging, it would be you'd have a $1.8 million budget and then paying somebody else to do your EMS transporting.
So these additional people are for staffing for the town of Winslow, then emergency services for the town of Winslow and mutual aid to
Everything.
other facilities.
Yep.
And fires.
But
And
not
five-
necessarily interfacility transfers as they seem to be declining to some
Correct.
extent.
Correct. No, full-time staff should not be doing interfacility transfers.
Okay.
It will be, we do callbacks for interfacility transfers, and we're still making money when we do callbacks for that.
And something you might want to think about too is if you're running 3 ambulances and then you say, oh shoot, should we put another one on? I can tell you now that you will give away a call, but if you had that 4th ambulance, you will take that call. So the more you have, the more you're going to be able to do. You got to look at it that way. The more staff, the more crews you can run, the more ambulances you have, the more calls you will
So
be able to do.
as of like this morning, we had back-to-back calls where our paramedic was on one call, and we had to call for another paramedic for the second call, because it deemed to be a paramedic call. We had 2 paramedic calls back-to-back. So we're still
again-
giving away calls, even at the staffing we are now.
And again, we're still looking to make sure we're maximizing coverage for the town.
Correct.
That's priority number 1.
Correct.
Is making sure we have an ambulance here.
Right.
Oh yeah, the transfers always came after that.
Right.
Yeah.
The town comes first. Transfers are just that extra, and I know I'm gonna get kind of looked at funny, but it's kind of gravy. A transfer is good extra money when you can take them.
Mike, through the chair. Mike, if we didn't have the transfers, would we be able to do what we're doing right now? As far,
So I can't say yes and I can't say no because it's what I can cover.
right.
Right.
But before we had the transfers, the income that's coming in from the transfers, how much?
It's just extra, Mike. I mean, that's
Just
all I can
extra.
tell you. We did it to help out the hospitals, so that way when you do go to the hospital, you don't wait for 10 hours. We're getting that, and I'm sorry, but that's what it is. It's to get that person from Thayer to Augusta or wherever they need to be versus they're holding a bed because they can't go somewhere.
Right.
So the
And-
transfers were not a priority. It's the medical
Correct.
responses. Yeah.
No, but it is critical to me that if a Winslow resident wants to get someplace and someplace else, that we service that.
And we-
That's-
and we
if this
have.
Manning here it's very frustrating. I've been in that position with a lot of people where we're just sticking around at there because we can't get transferred, or at a hospital because we can't get transferred to a facility.
And the
so
other thing of
for that
that-
service for Winslow residents
Yes.
is critical.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely. And we've done that. We have transported people's loved ones to other facilities. Not just, but the other thing too is sometimes there's not a bed available at that. You know, they're supposed to be admitted to Augusta, but they have to wait till the next day because the person that is getting transferred or released isn't until their end of, you know what I mean, their end of care.
When you go on emergency call right now, usually you're either going to Thayer or Augusta, correct?
Thayer or Augusta, or now we're going to Reddington.
Reddington.
So I can, if you're gonna ask, so it's 22.2 to Augusta and 22.6 to
I'm not
Reddington.
gonna ask that question.
Okay.
I wasn't gonna ask that
Okay.
question. Do you do Augusta, Waterville to Portland or to Bangor
Yes,
for Winslow residents?
yes.
Okay. That's-
I got a question through the chair. I recently went to the ER and I tried to find out family members. I needed to get transported from Waterville to Augusta. And based on what I was told, it was not a Winslow rig that transported me to Augusta.
You,
How do I?
you tell them you want Winslow to transport you, and they have a legal ability to make you transport.
Okay.
You get to choose whomever you want to transfer you.
Unfortunately, what's been happening is it's not through the hospital. The hospital has given that to a different agency, and if we get called, we get called. If we don't, we don't. And I don't know. I've complained, and I don't know what an answer is to that. To be honest with you, kind of stops.
Okay.
The buck gets dropped. No matter how much I bang a drum or yell, it just happens.
Okay.
But if you want to be transported, you tell them you're a Winslow resident, and we do that, and to call Winslow.
Okay.
Through the chair, Mark, is there something that we can do with this? I mean, if we have somebody that's a Winslow resident and they said, well, we don't have any transfers from Winslow, I mean, is there something we can have that stated?
It's through the hospital. There's
Can-
nothing the town of Winslow, I think, is even gonna, it's through the hospital. It's who they're gonna wanna call.
So what you're saying is political?
To a sense, you can
Yes.
start spreading the word to
Well,
everybody.
so
you
that's
want.
what I was
already
gonna say.
have,
Part
though.
part of that is
Request your
obviously continuing to educate the public, whether this
Right.
is more social media posts regarding transfers or
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
whatever have you. But that's
Right.
part of it is education.
You can really get in the weeds with this where there's gonna be a lot of hateful comments back and forth, and I don't wanna be in that position like we were 3 years ago when we started transporting.
Okay.
So,
All right, thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Quick question about, I don't know if you're going to go down any further, but the comm center, looks like there's a big jump there.
so
I'm
the
curious
comm
about
center is out of our control. It's what they asked for.
So
Sort of
again,
like
this
a
is
monopoly.
coming. This is
50%
coming from
increase,
Waterville
though, year
Com,
over
and
year.
then of course, and then that gets split between FD and PD. So
Right.
it was a pretty
Is
big
that
jump.
typical?
It's sort of a monopoly because it's a PSAP,
What
right?
did they
So-
charge us year over year before?
So
50%?
yeah, so the problem is they're not running. They didn't have the money because they weren't charging what they should have been, the staffing levels they should have. So they should have run 3 or 4 during the day and 3 at night, and they're only running 2. Well, call volume has jumped significantly. And I brought this up when I first came on. I don't know if this is true, but this is something that you guys might want to look into. I heard certain towns are not paying into the Kennebec PSAP because we are already paying for a PSAP. So you guys might want to look into that as well.
I don't,
interesting.
what was that?
So some of the towns that are not going to be paying the Kennebec County, like the county taxes towards the PSAP because we already pay for a PSAP.
A PSAP is just an answering
The
911.
911 point.
So they can say, let me tell you,
I
is he
think-
breathing, tell you how to do something. It's a PSAP.
Ray, it was kind of like when Erica was here and I had brought that up and we were told no, but I have heard that towns are not paying in on that. They'll pay everything else, but not for the, and if I'm
I've-
talking out of line, I'm sorry, but I think that
No,
would
you're
be
not.
more.
And I've also inquired just for information to see what other counties are doing. For instance, Somerset, and I know Somerset had something to do with Winslow in the past, and they're not even taking on anyone new anyway. So
No,
it's not like we
nobody's
could sit
taking
here
on
and switch
anything.
gears and go with another county either.
Right. It just worries me, the precedent, because it goes, next year if it goes 50%, it's 200,000.
This is,
So-
Katie, can I
Please, Sherry.
just speak to that? This is an estimated increase. We don't have a final number from Com Center yet.
They
on
have
their
not,
contract.
so.
Okay, well, that's
Unfortunately,
helpful. Thank you.
right, and unfortunately, they don't even know. They just started their budget
And when can
cycle.
we expect that final information?
I have no idea.
I'm hopeful in the next month or two.
Okay.
Correct.
You guys have any other questions regarding operations, operating budget?
You guys all got a good feeling with the positions that they're requesting?
Yes.
I
Especially,
just wanna make it a good effort to get, if you can, paramedic, the highest level you can. So if that's possible.
That's always gonna be my goal, Ray. When I put up,
understand that, and
I-
I know the difficulty involved in that.
I am actually going to paramedic school in the fall. So, and then one other person. So, we will have paramedics.
Do you really think
Is it?
it'll take 6 months to fill these positions? I mean, did you say July, Mark? Is that what I heard you say?
Well, July
earlier?
1 for the fiscal year, but what I mean is it's not guaranteed that we'll have them ready July 1.
But
So-
if we could,
It could
that would
take.
be good.
It'd be
I
great.
have, correct, oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
So, I have somebody that can walk right in, because he's already pretty in for me. It wouldn't be
Yeah.
a big, like, training.
Well, I just see $200,000 of low-hanging fruit here and overtime. So if we can get them filled,
Right.
July, we'll save
Right.
some money.
But we wouldn't be filling it anyway if it wasn't filled. And I'm not trying to be smart, but if we're at a 3-person minimum plus a per diem, I don't fill that 4th position with overtime. That's
Right.
that was part of this, so it wouldn't be any loss or more money. Sorry.
So we can give them a heads up on this? Everybody agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a
Thanks,
go.
Chief.
Okay.
Yeah, while it lasts.
Page 17 for the police department, interim chief Randy Wing.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Again, police salaries, pretty straightforward. 99.9% are union contracts. Those are already negotiated. Randy Wings is the only one, and that's been, matter of fact, just a slight increase. I don't even think. Let's see, give me 1 second.
What the hell am I looking at? Wait a minute. What the heck?
Negligible. That was a 3.3% increase, so just barely above COLA. So speaking with regards to positions, it's a conversation that has been had between multiple parties. This includes between myself and the PD, myself and individual counselors. There's been conversations regarding an administrative assistant. That was not put in the budget, but it has been conversations that have been brought up. So I'm opening the floor for that to be pitched here, including the council for that conversation.
Mark, do you mind if I just interject one thing
Please,
real quick?
please.
Thanks to Tanya, we caught a possible error that may be able to reduce the administrative part of it in the line of stipends, because by the change in labor law, a lot of the stipends now have to be included in the officer's hourly salary. Prior to that, it was a separate line. So potentially, that 10,000 is going to be eliminated as well.
Good job, Tanya.
Yes, very good.
All right, so I guess they're looking for a head nod on
So-
adding that position,
This is the administrative assistant position?
so that when someone goes to the police station, there's somebody sitting there to open the door for you or answer the phone, yes? And do all of the work of the police officers, filing and all the stuff they do with speeding tickets and stuff like that.
Correct.
Yep, and through the chair, if I might, I probably called the police department maybe this summer 20 times, I would say offhand, 20 times when dealing with things, situations down at Fort Halifax Park. It was sometime a little aggravating when I called that you get the comp center. It feels like you're, that's what I did. I said, whenever I called, I got the communication center, I believe.
You're correct.
And so, in the past, when I had called, it would be very nice to be able to call the Winslow Police Department and have somebody at the Winslow Police Department take your information. It just seems to be, I think the comm center does a great job. But for some of the things that I was calling for, whether it be homeless, drugs, or whatever down at the park, it felt like I was not bothering somebody, but it wasn't of a high, there was no danger. It was just more of a, we need some help to move somebody along or something. So I could see the value of an administrative assistant during those times, which I felt it would be nice to have. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, just with the understanding, it's, that position is typically, or was typically a Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. as long as the public understands that they're still gonna get water bill come after. You know, we were just looking at the time, trying to reduce the budget, trying to reduce the costs to the taxpayers. So when we're paying water bill $180,000 a year, you know, and we're answering the phones for them, and we were dispatching for them during the day, you know, that's kind of a duplication in effort, and we're paying for something that we're not getting out of service. But, you know, I agree with what you're saying. There's a lot of sentiment that people would like to have a face back and, you know, someone local to answer the phones during the day.
I think it goes beyond answering the phone. It also will do the duties that the officers, to free them up to be able to do the jobs that they're supposed to
it
as
will help
police officers.
clerically, yes.
Because they're doing all the clerical work of this person and they're doing all of that. We're paying them an awfully good amount of money to be doing that.
And that's
instead of
something-
their investigations and whatever other jobs.
And
they
that's what we started discussing once it started kind of coming to light, especially, you know, once we're well into the process of getting this submitted and realizing after a couple of months that this isn't working. The current system that we have is not working. We do need somebody down there. I could tell you, and Randy knows as well, there's been a few times I go down there and no one's there. It's hard to get a hold of somebody, and to no fault to the police department here, but it's important for us to put somebody back in that chair so we actually have a face behind that window.
Not only that, but I think it's also a safety
It is.
precautions too, because if nobody's there, who's to say that they bust in?
Sure.
And then they get in there, what else can they do?
Yeah.
Or the
think it's-
public, what's the one place you're gonna go first if you need help right away?
To the beat. Yeah,
Where are you gonna pull
exactly.
in? You can't get in.
And to your point, Fran, it's important to be able to get these officers back out on the street and actually policing and doing
Absolutely.
less of that clerical work.
Through the chair, could you go over some of the responsibilities of this administrative assistant besides just answering the phone?
I could very well do that because I'm doing all of them right now.
Okay, great.
So obviously fielding whatever phone calls get forwarded over to us from comm center. As far as the daily events, it's, you know, a lot of the filing stuff is relatively low right now because we're not the Winslow back in the day when we were fully staffed, where we were having 400, 800 arrests. I think so far this year we're at 13, you know, this year. But as we fill the positions, the workload's gonna increase. So they'll be filing the police reports after they're written, submitting them to the district attorney's office, you know, taking in the walk-ins for concealed weapons permits, handling FOIA requests. Those are growing tremendously. Sometimes we average 6 to 10 a day now. So there is a lot that can be done as we speak, and it's as we bring more officers on board, the workload will get greater.
And you look at the years that we've always had one. We've always had one. And I understand saving the cost because of the comm center, you have double paying or whatever. But the comm center only answers the phone. This person would do all of that other stuff. And make the people maybe feel a little safer haven to go to if they need to. I definitely think it's needed, not
And it-
wanted, needed.
And in lines of the safety thing, I mean, we can maybe gear it towards maybe a retired police officer, someone that's certified or recertifiable, so that, you know, they can actually field some of the easy complaints.
That's a great idea.
We've done that in the past at different places, and there are usually retirees that would like to do something like that to occupy some of their time.
Very good idea.
And that would probably save an hour a day per officer doing paperwork and everything roughly.
yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a
More than
real
that.
misnomer when it comes to paperwork. No one can do a police officer's paperwork,
Right, but the extra on top
but
that
the
you're
extra
doing,
on top,
that's what I'm
correct, that's
speaking
gonna,
of.
that will help.
It will cut back on, you know, and you got 4 or 5 officers, it's 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, 7 days a week. That adds up quite a bit after, you know, to get you guys back out on your routes and doing what you need to be doing.
Yeah, and then, in speaking to when people come in and there's no one there, that's because when an officer has a problem out on the street, I'm gonna be out there. I'm not gonna stay behind in the office waiting, you know, for someone else to back them up, so.
Yep.
The only other thing on that is I think it should be a very moderate, pay scale, nowhere near what it's been in the previous times. because they started out way higher than a lot of people in other similar clerical jobs.
What we could do is, because we have to fall back anyway on a couple other, the admin salaries that weren't agreed on, the overall costs, when we come back and revisit that, we could bring back numbers regarding this position as well.
So we're looking at a full-time position.
Yes, full-time.
Okay.
Does everybody agree on that? Needing a full-time position?
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Lee?
Yes, I'm good.
Good. Ray?
I gotta give it a little more thought, but I think at this point in time, I'm definitely leaning toward a full-time position. I like to look at the budget and the money and everything, but at this point in time, definitely leaning in that direction. But
And the money part of it too, I want to remind everybody, I believe we no longer are going to be, we don't have the deputy police chief position.
Correct, that's
So
being
that money,
eliminated.
which was what, 90 maybe, you would take and pay this person and
Yes.
possibly somebody else. So you're not adding a cost to it.
even leaning further now, but
Yeah, that's the thing, we're actually
that's the
not
discussion
adding.
I needed to have. I need to
We're
have
still,
it, right,
no,
right,
and Fran, that's a good point. We are saving money because ultimately that is covering that salary and then some.
Right.
Dramatically.
Right.
I mean, you could theoretically have easily 30, 40,000 left over after that.
So somebody push Lean back, push him over this way.
Give him a V8.
So, in other words, when we have an administrative assistant there, we're actually gonna save money to begin with because these police officers can be actually doing the work that they should be doing out on the road and not getting paid their salary for doing FOIA requests and other things.
Correct.
And then we have more protection out there. And
Yes.
then maybe we can get 2 police officers at night there instead
Yes.
of just 1.
We have 2 police officers at night.
Yeah.
2 cruisers at night?
Correct.
How long have we had it?
For as long as I've been here.
Really?
Yep. And I don't want to get into the specific hours. I'll be happy to talk to you after.
Well, I know the hours. I know the hours.
But, yeah, for the busy times, we do have 2 police officers working the night shift.
So we got 2 separate cruisers on there.
Correct.
Okay.
So again, the majority, more than the majority, is leaning toward this being a position that we'd like to be added.
Yes, I'm all for reducing the administrative burden on the officers.
Absolutely.
Same.
Especially after we see some numbers.
Great. Do you have any questions regarding the operating costs?
I do.
Please.
So the communication center. Fire shows a 50% increase. Much lower increase here. Do we use a different vendor?
No, so
Why?
Nope, it's,
what-
it's,
So,
sorry, go ahead.
So what
right now-
happened on that this year, when I looked at the budget, I couldn't understand why the police were paying the lion's share of it. So if you look at last year's budget, we paid way more. And it should be a 50-50 partnership because we both require the service. It's, it's not call-based, it's basically the service to the town. So if you add the 2 together, that's the total contract.
So it's an even bigger increase then, if you think about.
It shouldn't be. It should be the,
It's
split,
even,
yeah.
it's
Just a big
evened
jump.
out between
Yeah, the
both
split.
departments.
50-50
It's,
both
that's all we
departments.
did was adjust. Instead of having one department pay more for a service that's being shared between 2 departments, now they're sharing that responsibility equally.
Okay. 15% for
Estimated.
police.
That's
Yes.
an estimated.
And then.
And 15 for
estimated
fire.
40-something% for fire. So that could be 55, 60%.
I think it's 15% for fire.
They're,
So
they're,
the overall
no.
increase that we're estimating, because we don't have final numbers, is a 15% increase in the overall contract. This year, we are splitting that contract evenly between fire and police, 50-50, instead of police taking the majority of it like they were last year. It was like 60-30.
it was about 60-40.
Yeah.
So basically, each place is paying, what, 7.5% more
Yeah.
So
to cover the balance.
Right.
50, 60.
Tanya, you got something you might want to add? I think you might have something you might want to add.
Police are paying
That's more than
67%,
15%.
fire department was paying 33%. This fiscal year and prior fiscal year. Fiscal year 27, we're splitting it 50-50 because the call volume has flattened out.
Okay. The call volume has what?
Flattened out.
Basically, we had more call volume in the police that were coming.
No, I understand what you're,
Okay.
yeah, what you're saying.
And fire department was 33%.
Yep, that makes sense.
Thank you,
Yep.
Tanya.
Thank you, Tanya.
I got a question for you, Randy. I guess it was last week or the week before. Winslow Fire Department had a car that went off the road. I think it was on the Augusta Road. And when they called for a police officer, comm center said they had to send Waterville over there because Winslow was transferring somebody to Kennebec, to a jail. So that day there, we only had one. Is it because we're short-staffed? And that was during the day.
I don't recall the incident, but during the day, we typically have one officer and the school resource officer. So if the school resource officer was tied up in the school and couldn't break free, that other officer could have theoretically been transporting a prisoner.
So that's why we had to have Waterville?
Could possibly be, I'm not sure, but I can research it for you and let you know.
Yeah.
I would argue that it's comparable to mutual aid. You know, when it
Correct.
comes to us assisting another town, whether it's the fire department or the police department, another town's going to assist us when we don't have the means to cover
And
it.
that's true, but it would be interesting to know how many calls we have to call for mutual aid.
Actually, it's very few for us. We tend to go to there more than they come here.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Okay, thank you, Randy.
You're welcome.
Everything else is pretty basic.
Actually, the rest of the budget is pretty much, I think, an overall decrease from last year.
Do you have any questions over the operating budget?
Yeah, I have a question. I know we've had a lot of people come in and we're training them, and I just want to let the public know. When we train them and all of a sudden they decide to go somewhere else, we spend several $1,000s. Was it 20-something thousand to put them through the academy?
The way the academy has it broken down, if they go through the first year officer buyout is somewhere in the range of like 50 grand.
50 grand. So if they decide to go to another place, we reimburse that 50,000?
Correct.
Okay.
It's on a sliding scale, 1 to 5 years.
Okay.
So like the first year out of the academy is the highest, and then it just slides down the scale till the fifth year is the lowest, and then sixth year they're free.
Okay. I just wanted the public to know that, but I knew what it. Thank you very much,
Welcome.
Randy. So,
Everybody good with Randy?
The only other one I see is training. It's gone up a little, about 9,000-ish.
That's probably the training he's talking about.
The train.
Oh, no,
I was gonna say, I
I'm
didn't-
looking at the wrong numbers,
Yeah.
I apologize.
I think it stayed
Yeah,
flat.
it's flat,
Yep.
over one line.
It happens.
Yeah, it looks fairly close to last year's.
Yep, it's a good budget.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Randy, thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
You as well.
Thank you, Randy.
That was our last one.
We didn't do a roll call when we started.
What's that?
We didn't do a roll call.
Not a workshop.
Okay.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Well, I don't know, I'm leaning. I agree.
Okay, I
I'll second.
All in
regret
favor?
saying that many
Yes,
times.
I won't let you forget.
Couple of years, couple of weeks, probably.
Thank you all, this meeting is adjourned.